today's topic we are going to discuss about clinical features of gingivitis, and we are going to discuss under that color of the gingiva, physiological pigmentation, size, contour, shape, consistency, surface texture, position. And moving on to the next slide, gingiva is a part of oral mucosa that covers the alveolar process of the jaw and surrounds the neck of the teeth. In adult, normal gingiva covers alveolar bone and the tooth root to the level just to the coronal to the cemento-enamel junction. Okay, let us discuss about marginal gingiva, interdental gingiva and attached gingiva. So, what is marginal gingiva? The margin gingiva or unattached gingiva is a terminal border like fashion of the gingiva covering the surrounding the teeth in a collar like fashion. In about 50% of cases, it is demarcated from the adjacent teeth, the adjacent gingiva, by the shallow linear depression, the free gingival groove. Usually about 1 mm wide, it forms a soft tissue wall of the gingival sulcus. It may be separated from the tooth surface with a periodontal probe. The gingival sulcus is a shallow crevice or a space around the tooth bounded by the surface of the tooth on one side and epithelial lining the free gingival margin on the other. It is a V shape and barely permits the entrance of periodontal probe. The clinical determination of the depth of gingival sulcus is a very important diagnostic parameter. Under absolutely normal or ideal condition, the depth of gingival sulcus is about 0 only in germ-free animals or intense prolonged plaque control. Histological sections has been reported as 1.8 mm with a variation of 0 to 6 mm. The so-called probing depth of clinical normal gingival sulcus in human is 2 to 3 mm. The width of attached gingiva on the facial aspect differs from the different areas in the mouth. In generally, the greatest in incisal region, that is 3.5 to 4.5 mm in maxilla and 3.3 to 3.9 mm in mandible, and less in posterior segments with the least width of first premolar region, 1.9 mm in maxilla and 1.9 mm in mandible. Because the mucogingival junction remains stationary throughout in adult's life, changes in the width of attached gingiva are caused by the modification in the position of its coronal end. The width of attached gingiva increases with the age and in the supra-erupted teeth. On the lingual aspect of the mandible, the attached gingiva terminates at the junction with the lingual alveolar mucosa, which is continuous with the mucous membrane lining the floor of the mouth. The palatal aspect of the attached gingiva in maxilla blends impermeably with the equal firm and resilient to the palatal mucosa. Moving on to the interdental gingiva. The interdental gingiva occupies the gingival embrasure, the interproximal space beneath the tooth contact area. The interdental gingiva can be pyramidal or caul shaped. The shape of gingiva in a given interdental space depends on the contact point between two adjoining teeth and presence or absence of some degree of gingival recession. Clinical features of gingiva. Here we are going to discuss about the color of the gingiva, physiological pigmentation, that is the melanin, the size of the gingiva, contour of the gingiva, consistency, surface texture and position of the gingiva. Moving on to the color of the gingiva. The color of the attached and the marginal gingiva is generally described as a coral pink in color. It is produced by vascular supply, the thickness and degree of keratinization of this epithelium and presence of pigment containing cells. The alveolar mucosa is red, smooth, shiny rather than pink and stippled. Physiological pigmentation. Hemoglobin derived brown pigment responsible for normal pigmentation of gingiva and remainder of the oral mucosa. Melanin pigmentation is prominent in black individuals. Ascorbic acid directly down regulates the melanin pigmentation in gingival tissues. What is melanin? A melanin non-hemoglobin derived brown pigment that is responsible for the normal pigmentation of the skin, gingiva and remainder of the oral mucous membrane. It is present in all normal individuals but absent or severely diminished in albinos. Melanin pigmentation in the oral cavity is prominent in black individuals. According to Dummett, the distribution of oral pigmentation in black individual is as follows. In gingiva, it is 60%, hard palate is 61%, mucous membrane is 22% and tongue is 15%. Gingival pigmentation occurs as a diffuse deep purplish discolorization or as regular shaped brown or light brown patchy. It may appear in the gingiva as early as 3 hours after birth and often is only evidence of the pigmentation. It also repigment after surgery. Now, what are the pigmentation classified as endogenous and exogenous? Under endogenous, we have hematochromosis, which is iron deposition, which shows a bluish grey pigmentation, and in jaundice due to bile pigment, which is yellow color, and in melanin in Africans. Exogenous pigmentation is mainly due to the metals such as bismuth, lead and mercury. Now moving on to the size of the gingiva. The gingiva correspond with the sum of total bulk length of cellular and intercellular elements and their vascular supply. Alternation in size is a common feature of gingival disease. Now moving on to the contour of gingiva. The contour or a shape of gingiva varies considerably and depends on the shape of the teeth and their alignment in the arch. The marginal gingiva envelops the teeth in collar-like fashion and follow a scalloped outline of the facial and lingual surface with a pointed interdental papilla. Now the shape of the gingiva. The shape of interdental gingiva is governed by the contour of the proximal tooth surface and the location and shape of gingival embrasure. When the proximal surface of the crown is relatively flat faciolingually, the roots are closer together. The interdental bone is thin mesiodistally and gingival embrasures and interdental gingiva are narrow mesiodistally. Conversely, the proximal surface is far away from the area of the contact. The mesiodistal diameter of the interdental gingiva is broad. The height of interdental gingiva varies with the location of proximal contact. Now the consistency. The gingiva is firm and resilient with the exception of movable marginal gingiva tightly bound to the underlying bone. The collagenous nature of the lamina propria and its continuity with the mucoperiosteum of the alveolar bone determine the firmness of the attached gingiva. The gingival fiber contributes the firmness of the gingival margin. Now the surface texture, similar to orange peel and refers to as being stippled. Stippling is best viewed by drying the gingiva. The attached gingiva is stippled and marginal gingiva is not. The central portion of the interdental papillae is usually stippled. Stippling varies with the age. It is absent in infancy, appears in some children at about 5 years of age, increases in adulthood and frequently being disappeared in the old age. Now the surface texture. Microscopically, stipplings are produced by alternate protuberance and depression in the gingival surface. Areas are covered by the stratified squamous epithelium, interrupted by irregular depressions 50 microns in diameter. The position of gingiva refers to the level at which the gingival margin is attached to the tooth. During this eruption process, as described earlier, the junctional epithelium, oral epithelium and reduced enamel epithelium undergo extensive alterations and remodeling, while at the same time maintaining the shallow physiological depth of the sulcus. Without the remodeling of this epithelia, the abnormal anatomic relationship with the gingiva and the tooth would result. Bleeding on probing. It is the first clinical sign of gingivitis. It is caused by gingivitis, periodontitis, anticoagulant drugs, bleeding disorders, etc. Now the clinical features of gingivitis is characterized by the following clinical signs: redness and sponginess of gingival tissue, bleeding on provocation, changes in the contour, the presence of calculus or plaque with no radiographic evidence of crestal bone loss. Gingivitis can develop with sudden onset and have short duration, and it can be painful. A less severe phase of this condition can also occur. Recurrent gingivitis reappear after having been eliminated by the treatment or after disappearing spontaneously. Chronic gingivitis develops slowly and has a longer duration. It's painless unless it is complicated by acute or subacute exacerbation, and it is the type that most often encountered. Chronic gingivitis is a fluctuating disease in which inflammation persists or resolves and normal areas has been inflamed. In clinical features of gingivitis, it is classified as localized gingivitis, generalized gingivitis. Localized gingivitis is confined to the gingiva or a single tooth or a group of teeth. Generalized gingivitis involve the entire mouth. Marginal gingivitis involve the gingival margin, and it can include the position of the contiguous attached gingiva. Papillary gingivitis involves the interdental papilla and is often extend into the adjacent portion of gingival margin. Papilla are involved more frequently than the gingival margin. The earliest sign of gingivitis often occur in papillae. Diffuse gingivitis affect the gingival margin, the attached gingiva and the interdental papilla. Here is a picture showing the localized marginal gingivitis that is confined to one or more areas of the marginal gingiva. The two earliest signs of gingival inflammation preceding established gingivitis are increase in the GCF, that is increased gingival clavicular fluid and production rate, and bleeding from the gingival sulcus on gentle probing. Periodontal probe. It is easily detected clinically and therefore it has value for the early diagnosis and prevention of more advanced gingivitis. It has been shown that bleeding on probing appears as an earlier clinical sign than the change in the color or other visual examination of the inflammation. Bleeding on probing is widely used by clinicians and epidemiologists to measure the disease prevalence, progression, to measure outcome of treatment and motivate the patients with the home care. The factors that contribute the plaque retention are anatomic and developmental tooth variation, the caries, frenum pull, iatrogenic fractures, malposed teeth, mouth breathing, restorative overhangs, faulty restorations and crown and partial dentures. Gingival bleeding is also associated with certain systemic changes. Hemorrhagic disorder in which the abnormal gingival bleeding is encountered include vascular abnormalities, that is vitamin C deficiency, or due to allergies, platelet disorders such as thrombocytopenic purpura and hypoprothrombinemia, or other coagulating factors such as hemophilia, leukemia and Christmas disease. Deficient platelet thromboplastic factor resulting from uremia, multiple myeloma and post-rubella purpura. Hormonal replacement therapy is one of the other causes for gingival bleeding. Oral contraceptives and in pregnancies and menstrual cycle also reported to affect gingival bleeding. The factors that decide the color of the gingiva, that is the coral pink reddish, is due to the bluish red metallic pigmentation, heavy metals such as bismuth, arsenic, mercury, lead and silver. Typically, metals are produced blue or blackish line in the gingiva that follows the contour of the margin. What is Burton's line? The Burton's line is a clinical sign that is seen in the patients of chronic lead poisoning. The mechanism behind it is Burton's line is occurring due to the reaction between the circulating lead and sulfur ions. Normally, sulfur is produced by the bacterial decomposition of the oral cavity. Thus, it results to the deposition of the lead sulfate, which produce this color on the teeth and on the gums. The color change is also due to endogenous oral pigmentation caused by melanin, bilirubin or iron. Diseases that increase the melanin pigmentation include the following: Addison's disease, that is caused by the adrenal dysfunction and produces isolated patches of the discolorization varying from the bluish black to brown. The Pruitt-Juger syndrome produces interstitial polyposis and melanin pigmentation in oral mucosa and lips. It is also due to the jaundice. Now, normal consistency is firm, resilient, and in case of inflammation, the gingiva would appear as soft and edematous. Now, what is the change in the position of gingiva? What is actual position and apparent position? The actual position is the level of the coronal end of the epithelial attachment on the tooth. The apparent position is the level of the crest of gingival margin. The recession occurs due to the determined by the actual position of the gingiva and not by the apparent position. The contour of gingiva varies considerably, depends on the shape of the teeth, alignment of the teeth, location of the area of proximal contact, the size of the area of proximal contact and dimension of facial and lingual gingival embrasures. Beckers et al. At 1997 classified gingival scalloping as flat, scalloped or pronounced. Stillman's cleft and McCall's festoon. Specific type of gingival recession consisting of a narrow triangular shaped gingival recession. As the recession progresses apically, the cleft becomes broader, exposing the cementum of the root surface. What is McCall's festoon? It is a rolled thickened band of gingiva usually seen adjacent to the cuspid when recession approaches the mucogingival junction. Initially, Stillman's cleft and McCall's festoon were attributed to traumatic occlusion and recommended treatment with the occlusal adjustment. This is a picture showing Stillman's cleft and McCall's festoon. So far we have discussed about the color of the gingiva, contour, surface texture, stipplings produced, melanin pigmentation and gingival bleeding. What are the causes for the gingival bleeding? I will meet you with another interesting topic in the upcoming lecture. Thank you.